Hey everyone, Val here, and I'm going to get ready to cook dinner tonight, but not just cooking dinner. I'm going to prepare a second dish that we're going to put in the freezer so that we can have that for a quick meal in another couple of weeks, or whenever we're ready for it. So what I'm going to do is, first I have my casserole dish that I'm going to use for tonight, and then I have a freezer safe dish or a disposable dish that I have for another time. And I have my cooking spray, and I'm just using an extra virgin olive oil spray, and I'm gonna spray my pans just to keep things from sticking. Make for easier cleanup, but that one will get thrown away. I just don't want it when we cook. I don't want it to be all stuck. But tonight we're going to be making a Mexican lasagna, and some of the items are cooked into the lasagna, and then the topping items we have in the refrigerator, and we'll just cut them up as we're ready to eat, or when we're ready to eat them. So I'm going to start with the ground beef, and because I'm cooking for 2 meals, I'm going to do 2 pounds of ground beef, and this is the 80% lean because the price of the other stuff is so outrageous you can't afford it. So I'm doing the 80% lean right now, and when I'm browning my ground beef on the stove, I'm going to add to it some minced garlic, and I'm going to chop up some onion and add some onion to that. And I always use Worcestershire sauce when I'm browning ground beef. Just, it smells better, and I kind of cook by smell a lot of times, and there's just something about ground beef. I have to have the smell of Worcestershire sauce in it to be able to tolerate it. So those are the ingredients I'm using for my ground beef. I think it tastes better too, and then once the ground beef is browned, I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, and then that's when you add the taco seasoning mix. And I buy the big jars of it because I use a lot of it. So I'm going to pour some of that in and simmer that with the ground beef in the water. Once the ground beef is browned and the onions and minced garlic is in there and we've drained off the grease, then we're going to season the ground beef. When we put it together, we're going to be using refried beans and a Mexican blend of cheese. And for our lasagna noodles, we're going to be using taco shells. Okay, these are the soft taco shells, or tortilla shells, whatever you want to use, that's fine, but this is what I use. So let's go over and start cooking. I'm going to be using some Tang stir-fry oil to saute my onions and garlic, and this is infused with garlic in it. So that's what I'm going to be using. Let me turn on my stove and get this warm, and we'll be right back. Okay, my pan is hot. I'm going to add in my onions. And my garlic. And we're going to saute that down just a little bit. All right, the garlic and onion are nicely browned up here, sauteed. I'm going to add the 2 pounds of ground beef. And I gotta have my Worcestershire sauce in there. So I'm gonna brown this, and I will be back with you as soon as it's browned. Okay, my ground beef is browned and I drained it. So now I'm gonna add, I always add a little bit of water to it. This will just help to kind of build a sauce for the ground beef and the seasoning. And I'm gonna add the taco seasoning. I put a generous amount in there because I like the flavors of that. We'll try that and see how that comes out. But I'm gonna mix the taco meat with the seasoning and just let it cook so the seasoning gets mixed in there real good. We're gonna let it cook. This is a double batch, so I'll let it cook down for about 5 minutes probably. And then we'll add the other ingredients. All right. I'm just gonna cover it over and let it cook for about, probably 3 to 5 minutes. All right, the seasonings are mixed in there nicely. If you can see that, the water's kind of worked its way into the meat with the seasonings. It's nice and seasoned. I'm gonna take my refried beans and add those in so that everything's incorporated together. And because this is, we're doing 2, I'll start with 2. It's probably gonna be enough. I opened 3, but I don't know that I'll need 3. I should have just stuck with 2, I think. I'm going to add the 3rd one just because, you know, if we have extra left over, we can always make ourselves some beef and bean burritos. We like Mexican food or this kind of food, so it's not going to go to waste. Oops. I'm going to turn my heat off because it doesn't need to be heated. It's going to heat when I cook it in the oven in the lasagna. So it's heated enough. It doesn't need to be cooked. All right, I'm going to finish stirring this up. I'm going to take you over there and we're going to start to assemble our Mexican lasagna. Okay, I've got everything over here on my assembly station. I have some homemade salsa verde. I'm going to put some of that in there just for some extra flavoring. See how that turns out. I always add a little either salsa or salsa verde or something in with my mixture. And you could do this in separate layers if you wanted to. You could put a layer of the ground beef down, put a layer of the beans down. I mean, however you wanted to do it. I just like mixing it all together. It makes it much easier and flavorful. All right, so there you go. Now we're gonna start with a flour tortilla on the bottom of the pan. And they fit in there pretty good. As you can see, let me move this out of your way. Just gonna get a small knife and cut off the edges so that it fits in there. Now don't throw the edges away. You can still use those. All right, doesn't have to be perfect, but there's your tortilla on the bottom of the pan, and that's like using lasagna noodles. If you were making lasagna, you want to add a layer of, and I say a generous layer. Put a generous layer in there of your meats. Meat and beans. And with any lasagna, you want a layer of cheese. So we're going to add a layer of our Mexican cheese. And that's all you do. You just keep repeating it like you would do a regular lasagna and you're good to go. I'm going to put my 2 lasagnas together and I'm going to come back and show you when I'm finished. Okay, so my lasagna for tonight is ready and my lasagna for the freezer is ready. So this is 2 layers. You could go with a 3rd layer if you want to, but I used up all the meat mixture that I had, so that was only allowed me to do 2 layers of each, which is fine. That's going to be plenty, and we're going to be serving this with lettuce and salsa and sour cream. You can put olives with it. I have tortilla chips. We usually eat tortilla chips with it. So anything you want to garnish it with, you can garnish it with it. I'm just going to cover this one and put it in the freezer. And this is our Mexican lasagna. Okay, I've preheated my oven to 350, and I'm going to put the lasagna in. And I'm going to cook it for, starting out at about half an hour. And I'll come back and check it, and if it needs a little more time, we'll put it in there for a little more time. So I'm going to just put my timer on there for 30 minutes. There we go. We have just pulled it out of the oven. It is looking wonderful. We got our sour cream, got our lettuce, we got some tortilla chips, some guacamole salsa. I have some of my salsa verde and some of the red sauce. So we're going to fix our plates. This is my plate. I'm going to take my plate. We're going to eat in the living room and watch Christmas movies tonight. So thank y'all for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and you want to. We'll catch you on the next video. Have a wonderful dinner. Bye now.